You're listening to another Geek Pride podcast.
Hello, I'm Jamie McKeller, and this is the Geek Pride podcast. I'm here with
Matt Geary,
David Foy,
and Bevan XCOM.
Bevan XCOM. Smooth, beautiful.
Right, so Jamie, your first podcast with us. You're technically a guest, but you're also a Geek Pride contributor as well. So we'll start off on the guest side of things.
Cool. Okay.
So you've been a busy beaver recently. You've been busying away
endlessly.
Now, for those of you who aren't aware of who Mr. McKeller is and what he does, do you want to give us a quick elevator rundown, pitch type thing? Who you are, what you do?
Okay, man. So I'm way too old to be a YouTuber. That's probably the first thing I need to get out of the way, because I'm closer to like 40 than 20, and I don't have really cool hair. And I'm not particularly turbulent emotionally, so I don't feel like I can qualify to be a YouTuber these days. But we have a film company called Red Shirt Films. We're based up north in York, and we use YouTube as a platform, and have been making variously geeky horror comedy, sci-fi comedy, Dungeons and Dragons comedies, and just general comedies for the internet over the last 4 years. I think it's been probably longer than that. I probably just blanked out a bit of time here and there. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. I think that's how I met you guys initially, wasn't it? I think I sent you one of my many press releases that I fire out into the internet. And
Knights of the Round Table.
That was it, yeah. And I think Becca reviewed it, and it was a nice review. So
yes, it was. So, it was a good series. You very good. I enjoyed that one.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, it was cool, and that was it. Then you couldn't get rid of me after that. And then we met at Comic-Con a couple of times. And that was it. And I sort of clawed my way in. let me work with you. Let me be a part of this wonderful thing. So that was it, really. Yeah. It was,
Brilliant. Awesome.
Here we are.
Here we are, podcasting and shizzle. And I'm still annoyed. I've got that sort of like OCD thing going on now, where I know that, that the audio is going to sound okay through my awesome condenser mic, through my recording, but I know that you guys aren't hearing the awesome right now. You're not appreciating the sound that you're going to hear later on.
No, we can hear. Yeah, what are you talking about?
It's annoying me. I'm probably just kind of going, I don't understand. I just got this awesome new computer. It does everything, but for some reason, unbeknownst to me, is it doesn't like running my other microphones on Skype while I'm running Audacity, which is a pain in the proverbial bum. Anyway, so Jimmy, so you have you're on your third season of a series called I Am Tim.
Yes, yeah.
Which is about a monster hunter. Yes.
Yes.
A monster hunter. Yes. That's what he does. I Am Tim, the Monster Hunter. Now, how long has that been going for? How long ago did that series start?
Oh man, we uploaded the first episode for that in, I want to say, 2013. I think that sounds right. I should probably
many
check
years
that.
ago.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't worked on it constantly. I mean, when people hear that, they automatically freak out and think that I've donated like 5 years of my life to something that's on the internet, and we sort of went back to it now and again. I think we did season 1 and 2 pretty close together, and then when it came to season 3, we had like a 3-year gap. So we were doing other things. We didn't just like give 5 years to this madness, and we're releasing season 3 online now, and that's all coming out pretty quickly. So we're releasing 2 episodes of it a week. From I think we started on the 1st of February, and it's running through till mid-April. We got a couple of little breaks just to hang on to sanity, as it were. But it's been a bit of a mental ongoing thing, and it's been fun. But it's going to be wicked to say goodbye to it because like even though we haven't been working on it constantly for 5 years, it has kind of been hanging over us for that long. So
why goodbye? So why have you decided that this is going to be it for that series?
Oh man, because we made, I think when it finishes there will be nearly 46 episodes online. And for a web series, that is enough. Like
Impressive.
that is more
That's
than
impressive.
enough. Like it's impossible. Well, it's not impossible. It's difficult to get views onto stuff that's like a short film or a sketch. But to ask the internet as an audience to come back like 48 times, just probably not. But we've had a go, and we've got like a few like really die-hard fans. Probably count them on one hand, but they're awesome. And it is finding new people as new stuff's coming out as well. But I think it's just like anything. You can't do it forever. We've got some other ideas that we want to get on with, and we've never really been able to get on with them while I Am Tim has been hanging around, demanding our attention.
So what will some of these ideas be? What have you got?
So we're making a feature film this year. That's probably the most exciting thing. We're shooting our first feature.
Whoa, wait a minute. Last time I talked to you, you were talking about how things need to be shorter and punchier and stuff.
For the
and now you've gone
internet.
the complete.
For the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
for the internet.
right,
Like,
okay.
so
I thought you were just going, fuck
No,
that,
I'm going to make a
man.
feature film and upload it to YouTube, and then no one will watch it. No.
okay.
We're making a kind of more traditional feature film. Like, well, I say traditional in terms of like it's going to go to festivals and stuff early next year once it's finished. For the internet,
Right,
for Red Shirt
okay.
Films as a YouTube channel, we're shooting an anthology of horror films this year with other writers as well. So I've written one, and there are 5 other writers doing one each, and it's going to be like a kind of YouTubey. Have you guys seen VHS?
Yes.
The horror film? Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it's based around these haunted laser discs, if anyone remembers those things.
Right,
No?
yeah. David, Jamie, David is one of the biggest horror B movie fans you're going to meet, possibly.
It's true.
So-
I've got a problem.
Yeah, I do.
But-
Got an addiction. Sorry, Matt. Sorry, Matt.
Like an addiction to you,
Addiction
Dave.
to you. Sorry, Matt.
For all of that really obscure references that back in the day, my current band, one of our first sort of CDs, which we'll name nameless, it had a song called Addiction, and it's to say not some of our best work.
Oh man, it's lovely. It's great. It's gonna be played whenever John gets married.
There's a drinking game. Yeah, what a good idea. There's a drinking game for it to see every time John says addiction that you have to have a drink. Unfortunately, that's about 1 million times. And you're just, back in the day when you thought you were going to be rock and roll stars, and the naivety of it all.
But anyway, yes, I like horror films. I like horror films quite a bit. In terms of what the 3 films you were talking about making, what can you give us a bit of information about them?
Okay. So the feature film we're making is we made a pilot for Rain Dance, which is this big film festival that happens in London, and it's got a kind of fringe festival based around in there as well, which is the UK Web Festival, and they did a partnership with Dailymotion to make a pilot for a web series, which we took a swing at a couple of years ago, and we came second, and we thought we'd do it again a couple of years ago as well, and we won. We won this quite a decent amount of money. And then Dailymotion, who backed it, just kind of disappeared. So we were left with this big pot of money, and I was like, what do I do? And they were like, we don't really want the series. We're not that fussed about it. Make it or don't. So I was a bit like, do I keep this money or do you need it back? And they were like, no, you keep it. So it was a bit odd. So we kind of spent the money, we invested it in new camera gear for the company. Because outside of the filming stuff, the creative stuff, I work as a videographer, so I kind of invested it in the whole thing, so we could just make everything rather than filming old Canons and stuff. We could film on nicer things in beautiful 4K, and I just sort of we liked the idea so much we thought, well, let's not make it for the internet. Let's actually make it as a low budget feature film, and we asked all the cast that were involved in the pilot, and they all thankfully said they're completely up for it. So we start filming that at the end of July this year. But the anthology stuff, the horror stuff, is I only really know about one of them because I haven't seen the scripts for the other 5 yet because I'm not writing them. But they're all going to have that kind of like brain deady, bad taste, Evil Dead
Awesome.
kind of vibe to them.
Yep.
So I'm a huge.
Right.
I love practical effects. If like Matt's seen bits of I Am Tim, anyone that watches it straight away, it's all like cheap rubber pipes and gaffer tape holding stuff together, and just fake blood flying through the air, and people get covered in stuff at like 3 a.m.
Which is a lost art in
No
itself.
respect.
It's a lost art in itself.
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
is.
Actors don't like it anymore. They want to be on a green screen inside with central heating. So when they come to me and I'm like, right, we're going to go in the woods until 4 a.m. They're like, oh no, who is this guy? What's he doing? So, but I'm all about. Like, yeah, I grew up watching like old school horror stuff. I used to just raid the VHS section in this place in Scarborough where I grew up, which was called Movie Land, and they had like it was like 25p a night VHS section, and there was like really bad horror movies like Motel Hell from 1984 or something.
What a
And
film.
I just kind of watched all of those. Have you seen it?
Yes, of course.
Have you seen it? Amazing! No one's ever seen that
Yes.
film. It's this film everyone kind of goes, no.
Arrow
It's a horrible film.
Arrow Video have recently released a fantastic Blu-ray edition of it, a 2-disc Blu-ray edition. It's fantastic.
I did not know this.
You should check it out, man. It's great.
I have to track this down. It's just brutal.
Yes.
It's not in good taste, but still.
It's
Some of the
a
best ones
lost
aren't.
art. It is a lot. I think. I don't know what you know yourself, but to me, when you go on to sort of horror movie fan sites, there is a real harking back to the kind of late 70s, early 80s exploitation horror, cheap special effects, bad acting, badly shot sort of movies that are really coming back to the
Yeah.
fore. It's like a real sort of reaction to the the over CGI'd to the kind of horror that Blumhouse horror that's kind of taken over
Yeah.
mainstream.
It's great to see.
movies.
Well, it's the guy who did the remake recently. They're not sure, are they? Was it a remake? Was it a sequel? Evil Dead. And I know it was a really different film to the Raimi ones, but I loved it, and I love that if you're the making of almost 80% of what they're doing is practical, and they just used CGI just to kind of beef it up a little bit rather than doing 10% on a blue or green screen and then putting it all together afterwards. They actually spent the time and put the actors through absolute hell. I kind of watched what they did, and I thought I don't feel so bad now because what they were doing to their cast was like times 100 what we were doing, and people were having breakdowns on set because it was such unpleasant conditions. But the result was amazing, and I know it's one of the things. A lot of people don't like the remake because people get really attached to classics, but I did. I loved it. Not as good as the new series, Ash
Yeah.
vs Evil Dead, which is just insane. But anything that's got that kind of old school, 80s 90s horror vibe, I'm completely in for it. It's great.
Excellent.
Wow, right, okay.
Yeah.
So the feature film is actually, so you're doing the feature film as something, is that away from the YouTube channel and Red Shirt, or is that something to do with Red Shirt? Sorry.
No, it's still under the Red Shirt kind of name, because we spent 4 or 5 years working underneath that and building the small but super awesome audience that we have. So it would be a bit redundant to kind of abandon all of that. So what we'll be doing is we'll be putting like behind the scenes stuff and vlogs and things like that will be going on the channel, and there'll be like production diaries and stuff like that. Because the one thing we did do last year, we kind of got a little bit swept up in the whole YouTube thing, about trying to make really short form comedy sketches and stuff. And when we started making stuff for YouTube, we weren't doing that. We were making horror comedy stuff, and we were just using YouTube as a platform and kind of being like, look, that's what we've made. If enjoy it or don't. But then I think spending like more time at these Comic Cons and meeting more YouTubers and chatting to people like Tom Scar and Jack and Dean and sort of getting an insight into how they made stuff. We almost tried to emulate it for a little bit. So we have a little sort of middle section on our channel in terms of the sort of order that we've uploaded things. And if you kind of look at the order of the upload, you'll see in the middle on the videos there's a sort of point about a year and a bit where we kind of released more comedy sketches than the stuff we started to do originally. And the one thing we're doing now is we kind of rebooting a little bit and going back to that. rather than trying to sort of appease the YouTube overlords, as it were. So we're trying to kind of go back to the roots of it all. So
basically do what you want to do, and the heck
that's
with,
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Stop doing what
So
we feel
you
like
don't
we should.
feel you don't feel slightly jaded by the fact that obviously I've watched a fair bit of the stuff in your channel. It's all very well done, great effects for YouTube content. It's pretty amazing, but obviously you would expect there to be a lot more attention to it. Do you feel that maybe? No, obviously I don't want to insult you, by the way. I don't want
No, not at all.
you.
Not
No,
at
no,
all.
yeah, it's great content. Which we have the same problem as well. You've got some good content, good articles and things, but you just don't get any traction whatsoever. Do you feel sort of slightly jaded with the whole thing, and just sort of did you feel that you had to change to try and like you said, appease the YouTube gods and do something different, and now you've just kind of gone, fuck this, I just want to do what I want to do.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, we reached out to a lot of people, and we got a couple of collaborators on early things. Like Liam Dryden is a YouTuber from he's from Edinburgh, I believe, and he lives down in London now. And he was really cool. Like, he got involved in some stuff. He did the voice of one of the like an evil board game in Knights of the Round Table. But a lot of it is it falls on deaf ears. There's a YouTube community for sure. I mean, if you look at like the big hitter YouTubers in England. They're all in each other's sketches. They're all crossing over and working together, and then I think you kind of get like the guys who Matt, Nick and Gary from Sneaky Zebra. I mean, they're
yes,
making,
they were on last week.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, they're
it
making,
hasn't been released yet, but
they make amazing stuff. They make amazing stuff, and even though they get a lot more views than we get, they're still not getting enough. So they made Prop Wars 2, and it kind of ticks every single box you can imagine for what is a YouTube short. It's playing for every fandom you can think of, and the production value is incredible, and the performances are great, and everything about it is slick as fuck. And I looked at that and I thought, well, that's going to be the one that goes absolutely nuclear for them. And it didn't. It got them it got a few 100,000 views, which is still immense. But then you see other YouTubers putting out, hey, here's a sketch I made in 5 minutes, and it's boom, 500 million views, and you go, oh fuck, how did that happen?
Yeah, they were sort of talking about that. We were talking about analytics and stuff when we interviewed them, last week, and they have sort of, I think what the issue they have is they'll do the thing like Prop Wars or something like that, and they'll put it online, and you'll get it, it'll get fair enough traction, loads compared to sort of stuff we put out and stuff like that, but not a lot for them to sort of make any major money off them, which they need to obviously make more. But then somebody else, some cheeky bugger from another site, will steal the content, stick it on their Facebook, and get millions of views and stuff for it, and it's just. And they were sort of railing against that to start off with, saying, people stealing content, and now they've sort of started embracing Facebook as a platform. Fine, they don't get any money from it, but I think they've realised that they need the social aspect of it. They need that sort of push, even if it doesn't mean making money.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we like I say, in the middle sort of period of Red Shirt Films, we started trying to make more what you would think of as YouTube content. So we did a short sketch called Girl Tips, and Girl Tips, I just realised what that sounded like. Tips, as in hints. And if you watch that, it was me and James, who was James Rochdale was one of the guys I used to run Red Shirt Films with, but he got kind of too burnt out too quickly from putting stuff out there and it not landing. I think I had a bit more resistance than he did to it. I think he sort of imagined it. We'll make a sketch and it will be funny and it will 5 million views. So at the time, me and him did a few sketches like that. Like we did one called The Walking Dead in England, and it was like a British version of The Walking Dead in which the council say stay inside, don't do anything, and we do, and it all passes by pretty quickly. And that's the end of that. And that's we played on that. We sort of we did lots of like 1 minute, 2 minute long sketches, and like you say, like they were received really well, and they would get little bubbles of like you know, oh, we put it up online and it would go, you know, 200, 300 views, and then overnight it'd be like, oh, 4,000, and then it would stop, and you go, oh, okay. And we just sort of never, with the exception of the sort of ongoing John Lewis parody that I do every year, which just started as a complete piss take. Nothing's really ever gone, you know, viral. We had one that got close to 500,000 views. And I was a bit like, oh fuck, why that one of everything that's on the channel? Like, well, you know, but it was because it was relevant and relatable. People knew John Lewis, they knew that there were parodies out there, and one year mine just kind of happened to get more traction than others. But with the horror stuff, with I Am Tim, I think season 3 has been rolling out for about 2-3 weeks now, and they've got around about 1,500 views per episode. And to me, that's great. I'm like, I don't know 1,500 people. And if we look at the analytics, people are actually watching all of it. You know, they're not just clicking in for 5-10 seconds and going away. They're actually, you know, they're sticking for the whole thing, which is crazy. And we uploaded them, and I said, look, as long as these get like, you know, 500 views each, I'll be happy with that, because it's a third season of a web series that didn't, you know, those that do like it love it, but it never had a massive following. So, yeah.
I was going to ask, in terms of obviously putting content onto YouTube, do you have any issues with YouTube themselves in terms of, you know, the actual content itself, in terms of, you know, graphic violence, in terms of gore? Is there any, do you get any complaints about the content? No,
because I think we kind of neatly walk that line of ridiculousness. Like there is a lot
comedy,
of
really.
There is what? Sorry.
Of sort of like a horror comedy sort of stuff.
Yeah. So like when we do any special effects driven stuff, it's never like something like Hostel or something like that, where it's just kind of almost like gore porn. And I'm not a big fan of those films, because I just think, what? I don't really want to see a load of teenagers just get like eviscerated and just murdered terribly for 90 minutes. So if we do drop in some gore, it's normally of a kind of Monty Python Black Knight variety. It's over the top, it's silly, it's punctuated with you know, ludicrous situations, and it's never that graphic anyway, you know, because it is kind of a bit sort of wobbly, latexy stuff and nonsense. Even when it does go, I think the most gross effect we ever did was in an episode in season 2 where a guy gets sort of razed in half by a were-sheep. And he's like, they find him lying against a tree, and he's like, his rib cage is open and all of his guts are falling out, and he's holding them in his hands and he's still breathing, and he's kind of going, oh no, I'm fine, I'll be all right. It's just, oh shit. And
it's very Peter Jackson-esque.
Yeah, it was just kind of ridiculous. But I think because it's so ridiculous, we've never had anything flagged. I think the only thing that got flagged was the John Lewis video. We did the Penguin video, and we did it as a kind of a charity video for penguin enslavement in the UK. And it was played really straight, and we started getting death threats and stuff through the messaging system and on YouTube.
Really?
And then we started getting, people were flagging it for, you know, for bad content and stuff, and that was odd, because that was nothing. It was there wasn't even any swearing in it. It was just a silly.
I've just come to the conclusion that people just like to fucking moan.
People are just fucking
I just sort
evil.
of I work in insurance in the day job, and the amount of people you get who are just phoning you up for an argument or for a, you know, there is no real major issue, but they want to make one. Like, for example, I had sent out a statement to a policyholder, and I got one back, and it was a slightly arsey sort of letter and stuff saying, well, you know, there's lots of mistakes and stuff in this and blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, I'm very sorry. And so I had to look through it. And it wasn't grammatical issues or anything like that. It was just that the way it was phrased was not the way that she wanted it to be phrased. And she would change things, you know. I can't even think of it. And there was one really stupid, like, example. I can't even remember what it was now. It was that ridiculous. But basically she replaced one word with another word which meant the exact same thing. But was complaining about it. And I was just like... So I changed it. And I came back, and then she changed more things because she thought, no, that didn't sound right. She wanted it something else. But then it was my fault because, you know, I hadn't thought of this. And I was just like, people are just dickheads sometimes. They just want to have a fight. There's no reason behind it. They just want to be offended by something, or they just want to have that sort of thing where they're sort of trolling people online because it makes them feel that's slightly more powerful, and it's just, why can't people be just cool, you know?
People just want
Yeah,
something
just be cool.
to give off about, essentially. I mean, absolutely. You look at anything that's uploaded onto YouTube, or any tweet, there will always be, for every 3 people that praise it for its merit, there'll always be one person there who'll try to pick holes in it. It's just the way society has kind of gone. There's always this sort of inherent need to be a dick about stuff. It's.
Oh, there is though. There's a guy on my Facebook friends called Steve, really nice guy, and I've got a running thing with him that every time I put something online about how great this is, he automatically says it's shit.
Yeah.
And you can always get that he's always like he's I'm not sure if he's doing it because he's just one of those guys who just wants to sort of have the other side of the coin. But I can't say anything. I don't think he's ever agreed with me ever. It's always like I'll come out and I'll say, yeah man, Rogue One was amazing. And I say, yeah, I thought it was subpar actually. And then I was like, what? I was like,
has anyone seen John Wick 2 yet?
No, I haven't even seen it. You know what? I haven't even seen the first one for some reason. John Wick totally passed me by, and I kind of want to watch it now. So yeah, we'll see.
It's incredible for the fact that it's just a streamlined, no nonsense action movie with a shitload of gore, but tastefully done. Well, not even tastefully done. It's done in a way where it's both tasteful and also hilarious, in a sort of a 80s exploitation action way. But
apparently he does his own stunts.
Yeah. You can watch videos on YouTube of him training, and it's scary. I mean, he is just insane how he's trained up the yin yang when it comes to both guns and jiu-jitsu and everything. But the reason why I bring it up is I advise anyone to go and see it. It's a lot of fun. But I saw it at the weekend, really enjoyed it, and just the other day, I've just on YouTube just typed in reviews, because I like kind of, if it's a film that I like, I'll go in and I'll maybe watch a kind of review just to kind of get a bit of a sense of it. And there was maybe 9 videos, the first 10 videos that came up, 9 videos that were there of John Wick review positive, and then right at the bottom there was 10 things that were wrong about John Wick 2. It's like, who takes the time to sit and go, well, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to sit and go, I'm got 10 things that were wrong. He wore a blue tie instead of a black tie, or his gun had a different grip and all that. It's like, what's the point? If you don't like the film, just fuck off and go and see something you want to see. What is the point?
Yeah, I get that all the time. It's just like you go, and I don't like, when I go to see reviews, I tend to go for the middling type ones, not the glorious praise ones, not the shit ones at the end, but the sort of kind of middling ones. But you get sort of so many people who have this completely, like, you've seen this amazing film, and I can understand how some people might think, yeah, no, it wasn't as good, I was okay and stuff, but how people can sort of like really, really, really dislike something to that point, and you're just like, are you living on the same planet as me? I don't understand where you've got all of this from. I really don't sort of grasp this. I don't, I'm not sure if, is it a sort of, like we talked about on like previous podcasts about sort of like geeks who've been bullied, and they take it out on geeks and things because they think I've been bullied, therefore I'm going to bully people by being a dick online and stuff like that. I'm not sure if it's something like that or if it's just something else, but it's just like it makes me sad. Yeah. It really makes me sad that I can understand constructive criticism. Yeah. I really do, and I can understand like whenever I was sort of gushing about Rogue One and stuff like that, there's a lot of people going, yeah, it was okay, but there was nobody who sort of kind of went, it was shit, blah blah blah. It was sort of like not as much as I liked it and stuff, but that's fine. But it was just, I don't know, man. It annoys me. It really does annoy me, and I would like to understand what goes through somebody's heads like that. Here's another example, because I'm leaving my job soon. I can kind of semi-talk about this, but there's a guy he's one of the clients. I'll not tell you the company he works for or anything or his name and stuff, but he's slightly strange. He's one of the, and he has he's a nice enough guy. He gives us a lot, very supportive of the company and stuff like that. But we found out that he's a huge Twitter troll. Like, I don't know how we found it, but he's been blocked from like people's sort of Twitter feeds and things like that for putting on some pretty harsh stuff, man. And I'm just like, I don't understand why people do that. I don't understand what goes through their heads that they sort of want to spend their lives being like nasty to people online. It doesn't sort of it doesn't compute with me in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, I can certainly be nasty about inanimate objects, and I can certainly be nasty about films. I mean, you know yourself, the majority of my articles are me ripping the piss out of, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6, Friday the 13th Part 8. I will go to town and I will, rip a film apart. Partly out of love, what can I say? Partly out of my love of terrible films. But I don't get that notion. Like, I'm on Twitter, I enjoy using it. Everyone does have a rant, but I don't get the idea. I don't really get the need to belittle someone else to get my kicks, if you know what I mean. No.
It's not even like people see that shit and then, you'll get the odd weirdo, he'll be like, hey, that was quite funny, and let it on. But most people just look at people, those abusive sort of text messages, Twitters, and just go, you're a dick.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Nobody sort of kind of really thinks, oh yeah, good on you. You're a knob, really. And it's weird.
But anyway.
Sorry, that was a bit of a detour from Jamie's death threats on YouTube.
I can't believe you get death threats. That's a step too far. Again, if you don't like something, if you don't like a film or an article, or just close the page and just get on with your life. I don't.
Yeah.
Why?
Sorry, Bevan,
I'm going to say there's a fantastic meme doing the rounds at the moment. There's it's a two-frame meme where in the first frame there's these two talking heads just looking at each other, and one goes, "Do you know what? I think this is shit." And then the next one is just the other head just reaching across, pinching his lips together, and go, "Shh, let people enjoy things." It's just, it seems to sum this up completely. I'm with you guys on the whole. Why not just let people enjoy what they're doing? If they're if they're a model or they're a geek or if they're anything, just let them get on with it. I mean, obviously, if they're into something a bit sketchy, call them out. But
if they're fascist.
Yeah, well, I think there's you know what, it's true. It's sort of like it is oppressive in a way, and I find it it's one of those things. It's like, if you tell somebody to stop doing that, I think you're impinging upon people's human rights to sort of kind of express themselves. That's fine. By all means, express yourself as verbosely as you want to. But it's, I can understand if, for example, you've got some sort of attention seeker on Facebook or whatever, and they're just being a dick, and you call them out on it, and you have a bit of a rant. That's fine, but you don't have to go the extra sort of mile and be sort of, abusive to the point of being sort of really just uncool. I just don't get that. It doesn't. It's not in my nature in general, and it's it upsets me slightly because it's just like, why do people have to be that? The world would be so much better if you had cool people around, and it knocks you I think it knocks your confidence as well. I'm not sure about you, Jamie, and stuff. If you've created something and you're getting sort of kind of constructive criticism about it, and that's fine. But when somebody really digs in, that's when it kind of gets a bit sort of, oh, right, that's not constructive. That's just abusive, and they shouldn't hurt as much, but they do.
Yeah, I think. Well, we we had a guy that we. He won't listen to this. It's fine. He's a guy that we collaborated with a little while back, and it just sort of. I mean, I'm going to stay impartial and be fair about it. We just kind of didn't work together very well, and we decided to sort of go our separate ways. And I sort of said, I said thanks for all the input and all the work you've done. It's cool, but like you're not enjoying working with us, and we're not really enjoying working with you. So let's just like call it quits and sort of shake hands on it. And we did that, and then about like 2 years later, out of completely nowhere, he sent me this email, just kind of sort of talking about everything we'd done for the last 2 years, and it was just so venomous, like the things, and he was like tearing into the actors that we had involved and pulling them apart, and he's fuck this and that was this, and I was just a bit like, my first reaction was to kind of start typing angrily and be like, "Who the hell are you?" Sort of. But I kind of went, "No." I kind of, I said, well, okay, thanks for your feedback. Cool. Not really sure what he wanted to get from it, but it was odd because normally you get that kind of onslaught in. It's anonymous. People do it behind some kind of like Twitter egg, or like a really long YouTube name with loads of numbers in. So to kind of suddenly get this, I mean, on the one hand, I was like, wow, okay, it took some stones for him to do that, but it was so out of nowhere. It was just
it obviously being sort of eaten away at him. Seeing you carry
it felt
on,
like
and
that, but it just sort of came out of nowhere. And I think the fact that I reacted, sort of, I decided to I sort of wrote back and said, I hope you're doing all right. Thanks for that. I'll have a look and see if we can apply any of it to what we're doing. And he sort of emailed back like, oh, okay. And I think he was expecting a bit of a fight, which I thought was, that was a bit odd. But normally it's anonymous. You get the messages come through, you get the nastiness on Twitter and stuff. And I think we're lucky because we're, in a way, we are quite small. We've got about 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is not a huge, it's a tiny number. But they're an active subscriber base. That's the cool thing about it. Like, when we upload something, it does get engaged with. And on the rare occasions that we have had people on YouTube start, trolling us, the immediacy that the fans that we've got kind of jump to our defense is awesome because it's such a small community that's there. I think I've noticed, you guys probably, if you know YouTubers, the fans kind of do really feel an ownership to them. So like if Tom Ridgewell does something that's not on brand, he's got like 1 million people going, no, do the stuff you normally do. Sneaky Zebra guys, they do a video that's not cosplay, and it can get quite tiring, I know, for them, because they get people going, yeah, this is great, good, when's the next cosplay video coming out? And it's like, So to see, that kind of trolling get dealt with by people that like our stuff, it's like, sweet. That makes it worthwhile. I kind of, that really sort of nullifies the bad side of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you do. I'll give a good example of the Sneaky Zebra one when they did that sort of Donald Trump parody. When they were in America, and they actually had an Oval Office set and stuff. There was some serious like abuse on the comments section in that, and I felt like I needed to jump in on that and stuff because it was out of order. It was blatantly a parody, but it was just getting horrible, and they had loads of people, loads of fans who just jumped in and helped them out on that, and I think that is a good part. But they shouldn't have to. That's the thing. It shouldn't have to be that way. Why do people have to be dicks?
What is it? It's Will Wheaton, isn't it? Will Wheaton has Wheaton's Law, which is simply don't be a dick. And it's
don't be a dick.
That's a great rule to live by.
It is.
Don't be a dick.
Definitely.
If everyone's doing
don't
that,
be a dick.
If someone just leaned over to Trump and just whispered in his ear, "Hey, don't be a dick." Maybe he'd go, oh shit, cancel the wall. Cancel the wall. It's he's right. I'm being a dick.
I don't think we've been able to get through a podcast 1 week without mentioning that travesty.
Let's not talk about him anymore. Let's
not talk about
push him into the corner.
All right. Okay.
Can I?
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Can I just? Yeah. Sorry. Just going to ask a question in terms of obviously your stuff, the types of content that you're making. Have you noticed yourself? That there has been a sort of a renaissance for horror, not only just in the UK but also worldwide recently. If you look at some of the the festivals that have sprung up, obviously Fright Fest has been out for a while, but Dead by Dawn and British Horror Film Festival and so on. There really seems to be a real fresh blood, the wrong sort of term, but there seems to be a lot of fresh blood coming through in the UK horror scene, which is what do you have you noticed that yourself?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's horror as a genre. Horror's never fully gone away, and people kind of like a zombie film gets announced, and people kind of go, oh no, zombies are done, and it's like no, they never will be. Like there will always be a market for that. I'm working on I'm doing my film, which is a completely independent film this summer. But I'm also working on a friend's film, which is a guy called Miles Watts, and he's making a film this year called Hell Derby, which is a zombie film with roller derby girls in. and that is on a whole new level.
Will your other half be in
Amazing.
that one?
She's involved as like an advisor because my other half plays for the. She's a professional roller derby girl, which is ridiculous. I kind of look at that and go, "That's not real. That's 16-year-old me thinking that's like a fantasy from my teenage years." And suddenly it's like, "Oh, what? How did this happen?" Miles was like a big fan of roller derby from years back, and he's been making films for years, and this film is. It's actually a funded film. It's got a budget and producers and things signing up and stuff, and it will probably get some kind of much bigger release than what my first film is going to make. Mine is for festivals and to try and make that next step, whereas he's done that. He did that 4 or 5 years ago. But all the people he's talking to now, all the distributors, all the producers, they're all saying genre horror right now is the easiest thing to sell. If you make a tight horror film that is witty and either very scary or very funny, as long as it ticks one of these boxes, it is you can get it distributed, be it on VOD or DVD Blu-ray, be it theatrical. That kind of depends on what your end product ends with. But he went to them sort of going, I want a budget of this much, and they kind of went, yeah, that's great. How about this much? And he kind of went, oh, okay, that's cool. And he's sort of trying to. I would have just fallen over, I think. But they've all said the same thing. It's definitely a renaissance. You're right. It's always been popular, but it was so popular in the 80s because of the whole censorship movement. In a way, like the whole Mary Whitehouse thing. I've always said it kind of backfired.
Oh,
for
don't
her.
get me started on video nasties.
Well, I don't think it would have become the thing it was if it wasn't. If someone says to you, "You can't look at this," instantly you're like, "I need to look at this. I have to see this." And she kind of. It almost makes me think. Was she some kind of insanely clever marketing tool by these people? Like, let's put this woman out there and have her block everything, and suddenly everyone was like, "I must get these things," and it's
Did they not do that? I think it was the makers of Cannibal Holocaust. The distributors in the UK.
I was just about to say that.
Sent a copy of a mailer. Sent a copy of it to Mary Whitehouse with a mock letter stating, oh, "You should see this. This is one of the most depraved movies ever made," and it was used then as the poster child for the Mary Whitehouse and her Festival of Light or whatever you call it, her campaign.
Sweet forbidden
and
fruit.
It did backfire, but at the same time, it got a lot of views.
Traction. And we went through a weird sort of. We went through a time of. You mentioned the Jason Blum, the Blumhouse stuff, and Eli Roth. We went through that weird phase of like Hostel, like all these films that were
torture porn.
Kind of copies of that were coming out. Like it's Cabin Fever. Look at all these beautiful teenagers get completely torn apart by. And it was like there was no real kind of substance to them. They were just gruesome films with a really linear plot. And then all the sort of resurgence of ghost films started happening. Suddenly you had Insidious and lots of other films ending in Us, and they were all fine. Like the first, I quite like something. I quite like Sinister. I liked Oculus. Has anyone seen Oculus? That was with I forgot the name. That Amy Pond was in it. Karen Gillan, is that it?
Oh, Karen Gillan.
Gillan, yeah. That's a really good horror film. Just set
actually
in
made by the WWE, which is one of the funniest things.
Was it?
Yeah, it was actually released by the WWE, their own in-house movie studio.
It was great.
It's the only successful movie they've ever released. Wow. Was a horror film with no wrestlers in it.
No way.
That's insane. I had no idea about that. But it was once one film of that nature is successful. Like I've got no doubt in the next 3 years we're going to see loads of John Wick clones. We're going to see loads of that solo action guy kicking the shit out of people film again, and they won't be as good. They just won't. They won't even come close to what John Wick. I've not seen the second one yet. I'm going to see it hopefully this week. But the first one, it just kind of reset it, and I think that with the horror stuff, like it kind of came back after Shaun of the Dead. We had that big rush again for horror comedy stuff like Lesbian Vampire Killers and things like that. And I think it'll happen again. Like at the moment, people are really hungry for genre horror, which is why everyone's making it. And that's why there's so much of it.
What is it? Why is it so? I've noticed that a lot of British horror seems to have a humorous side to it. Why is it we don't do straight horror generally? Why is there always a black?
We do, but I think it's just something that's ingrained into UK or in the British sensibility. That there always is a slight humor. I mean, even if you go back to, I mean, one of my what introduced me to horror really was the sort of the 1960s and 70s, the Hammer horror and the Abacus horror movies. So there was always a slight sort of, they were always done with a slight tongue in cheek. There was always a slight sort of campiness to them, but they were still in a lot of ways played straight. There was always the Kensington gore was always there, but it was always done with a nod and a wink to the audience, as opposed to a lot of the American movies, around the same time, the contemporary, so stuff like the Roger Corman movies, and then coming into all of the exploitation movies of the 70s, like Last House on the Left and what do you say, Hills of Eyes. They're all, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they were always played straight. America always has this sort of fear of the unknown, whereas UK's it's always about, don't worry, folks, everything's okay. It's only a movie.
Do you know what my favourite sort of kind of British horror films is? Dog Soldiers.
Oh,
yes. Neil Marshall.
Classic.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Marshall is a legend.
I hope
absolute
I
legend.
give you the shits.
Yeah, it's amazing. So good, man. Do you know what? Because it gave me nightmares, but it also found it quite amusing as well. So it was like it was a double whammy.
It's fantastic.
But again, that if you look at Neil Marshall, a fantastic director. I mean, the stuff that he's done with Game of Thrones is incredible. But he is a director who's been successful in both the UK and America because he can straddle both sides. If you look at Dog Soldiers, and even stuff like maybe Centurion, which I thought was a real sort of underground hit, the one with Michael Fassbender as the Roman Centurion. They're played with a bit of a nod and a wink. But then you look at something like the Descent, which is just one of the bleakest horror movies you can ever see.
Yes.
But that was a co-production between the UK and America, and you can see the real American influence there, where it's just downbeat, depressing as fuck ending, but it worked so well because he is such a talented director.
Oh. What's the other one with Danny Dyer in it? And they go to like
the
Doghouse.
one that it's the one
Doghouse?
it's like a work trip away.
Yes.
Oh, Severance.
Yes.
Severance.
Yes.
Severance, yes.
Yes.
That's
it.
my. Can I name drop now? Can I name drop for
Yeah,
a moment?
go
I
ahead.
went down to Comic Con in May to run our booth, and I ended up next to James Moran, who's the writer of Severance and Cockneys vs Zombies,
Nice.
and now we're friends, which is cool.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
I might be helping out on his next film, which is
Excellent.
wicked.
Brilliant.
I'm
Yeah,
obviously going to tap him up for some Geek Pride stuff, obviously.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, he's about to drop a Kickstarter for his short film, which is called Bloodshed, which is the idea of it is incredible. It's about a man who has a garden shed that comes to life and starts eating people, and they fall in love, which I think is fucking mental. It's such a great idea. But he's the guy that he wrote for Doctor Who and Torchwood, and he wrote Cockneys vs Zombies and Severance, and he's just his brain is insane. I want to get hold of it and just wring it out for ideas, because he just comes up with the craziest shit. He just
Severance is the bit where it's just like Danny Dyer's on mushrooms and stuff, and he's just tripping out.
It's fantastic. It's so cool.
Good.
And even I don't know if you see, but the stuff that Alice Lowe is making at the moment.
Yes, Prevenge.
Yeah, fantastic. But even the stuff that she's sort of appeared from nowhere. I mean, obviously Garth Marenghi and her appearance in Hot Fuzz and so on. But I mean, she's really her the stuff that she's doing at the moment, like Prevenge and Sightseers, and absolutely fantastic. But again, there is that, although they are played as a horror movie, but there is that slight sense of comedy beneath the surface, which again is typical of of an English comedy sort of sensibility. But
I think Sightseers is one of my favourite films of the last 10 years. It's just everything about it it's amazing. It came out of nowhere. I didn't even heard of it, and someone said, have this on Blu-ray, you should watch this film, and I said, okay, I sat down and watched it, and I just didn't even blink for like the 90 minutes it was on. It was just insane. It was weird actually. We did a shoot for one of our projects recently, and we ended up on this farm outside of Thirsk, and it turned out that was the farm that they filmed loads of Sightseers on. And the guy that owned the farm got really excited, and he went, oh, did you like the film? I said, yeah, I loved it. And he went, come with me, and he opened the barn up, and there was the fucking caravan from Sightseers. just in his barn. I was like, this isn't real. I couldn't get in because the door had broken. I was like, I must get in. It's just so surreal. Like how, I mean, you get these, the bridge between like low budget indie stuff and the films that you would consider to be much bigger. It's not, it's not that far. It's all kind of connected together because everyone in the UK, especially the industry, is just supporting each other. And this guy Mike Sanderson, who owns his farm, they used it as a unit base for some Rogue One stuff like a few weeks before we were there, and he was like, oh yeah, last week we had the Star Wars people here, as he referred to them, and then we were there like a shitty little 3-man crew and 2 actors, and I was a bit like, oh, we must look like idiots compared to what they've just had here. I'm there with my little 2 little rucksacks of camera gear, like, yeah, that's my stuff. Oh man, crazy, but it's so cool. There's so much support out there for it all.
Oh, brilliant! No way. Okay, right. Well, we're overtalked that. There you go.
Yeah.
The 50 minutes, bro. All right. We'll quickly move on. I want to do something really random now because Sean Wallace can't be with us tonight. He has betrayed us and has decided that he's going to go off and have fun out and about. And he's out at a Rick and Morty quiz. And because it's not a Geek Pride I'll speak English now, a Geek Pride podcast without a reference to Donald Trump or Rick and Morty, I thought we'd have our own little quick Rick and Morty quiz right now. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Dave, you haven't seen that many of them.
No, I've
Bevan,
been too busy rewatching X-Files recently. Sorry.
Really?
Yes.
Well, even the ones without Mulder in it?
Oh, series 8 and 9. Well, you do get the T-1000 in them, like, so that's not too bad. No, they're a bit shit.
Jamie,
series 2 to 5. That's what you want.
Jamie, are you a Rick and Morty fan?
Yeah, I am. I think I just watched season 1 and 2 for about the 5th time last week. Because they're so short. Because I spend a lot of time here watching video render. That's the only reason why I've got 3 monitors, so I can have one of them running Netflix. It's not because I want to be cool. It's just so I can watch stuff. And I've watched it so many times now. So I'm gonna lose, I'm sure. Because
okay, right. Well, we'll go for a collaborative thing because it's one of these things where you got to click on something. So I'm gonna hit you with a question, and the majority will go for. So, what was Rick's favorite exhibit in the Anatomy Park? Was it the Bone Train, Bladder Falls, Spleen Mountain, or Pirates of the Pancreas?
Bladder Train?
Pirates of the was it Rick? Is Rick's favourite?
Yeah, Rick's favourite.
Oh, it's Pirates of the Pancreas, isn't it? Because he was like trying to get it. He was trying to sell it to everybody else, and they were like, "No, we don't like
no
it."
one wanted it.
So we're going for Pirates of the Pancreas. We're right.
Yeah.
Yep, we're right. Okay. Now, next question. What does Snuffles want to be called now that they've abandoned his slave name? Morty the dog, Snowbot, White Fur, or Snowball?
It's Snowball, isn't it? Is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's definitely Snowball, isn't it? Submit answer. Yes, we're right.
Come on.
Ooh. Who is the voice actor for Rick Sanchez? Chris Parnell, Sarah Chalke, Justin Roiland, or Spencer Grammer?
Pass.
I think it's Justin Roiland.
Yeah, I was going to go for Justin Roiland
Yeah.
as well. Let's see that. Yes, we are right. All right. Is Rick and Morty related? That's a really bad grammatical. Right. Yes, they are. But that's the thing. Okay. Wubba dubba lub dub. Whose catchphrase is that? Morty, Rick, Mr. Meeseeks, or Summer?
It's Rick, isn't it?
It's Rick, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I am
It
in
is
intense pain.
Yeah, that's it. Birdman. Yeah. What color is Rick's hair? Brown, blue, white, or orange?
Is it? I can't tell whether no one's saying anything because we don't know them, or whether we're just being polite to wait for someone else to jump in. We've been too English.
Yeah, it's going.
I think it's
I'm
white,
going
isn't
for
it?
After you, sir. After
Yeah,
you.
you sir.
Yeah.
You answer this question.
Oh, you got the last question wrong. What?
What? He's got white hair, hasn't he?
What? 1 minute. Let's see. That's Rick. Oh orange, blue, white, or brown. Is it blue?
Oh,
Is it like a light blue?
This is bullshit.
It's blue, apparently.
It's an outrage.
There you go.
Just on a slight tangent, have you guys seen the original Rick and Morty, I think it was called, that they did the animation for?
No.
Oh Jesus! Oh God! It's like it really goes really close to the whole Doc and Marty thing, and it's the same voice actors, but it's just like it would never ever be allowed to be screened on any kind of cable, or I mean it's barely allowed to be on the internet. It's out there. You should find it. And it is absolutely fucking shocking how far it goes. Like, I'm not easily offended. I can take quite intense stuff, but that was like what I remember just being sat there watching it on my phone, just going, no, you.
Is it the same? Is it the same people?
Same guys. Yeah, I think it's before
Dan Harmon and stuff.
Before I forgot his name. Dan Harmon came into it.
Yeah.
It was back when it was Justin Roiland and somebody else. And it's really crude animation, but it's absolute filth to the point where it's just you think it can't go further, and it does, and it goes even and again, and it just keeps going further and further, and it's. Yeah, I'm really glad they changed the direction of it and made it into what it is now, because the original stuff is just it's not good. It's just bad.
They're having a few problems, it seems. They put out a troll. They did, yeah. Advert, didn't they, for season 3,
yeah.
Which was basically just all chopped up bits from the last 2 seasons. But from what I've been told, they're having a few issues. They've had a bit of a semi-falling out on where the direction for the next one's going, and it doesn't look like it's going to be with us anytime soon.
I think they said it's starting voice recording starting next month, isn't it?
Really?
That's what he said last. Yeah. Well, I read an interview with Dan Harmon recently, and he said that there's a lot of sort of vibes out there that there's been a falling out or creative differences, and he was like, that's just not happening. He said it's just taking them a longer time to write, because when they first started writing it was quite organic, and they were just kind of flowing a lot and riffing, and now they feel like they've built this universe, and they're a bit more like they feel like they have more questions to answer with it, so they don't just want to. What he said? He said he wants to tell the funniest joke in the best way, whilst also pushing this universe forwards. So they're currently they're not just thinking about the earlier stuff is amazing, but it does become more complicated as it goes along. You get all the the multi-dimensional, the Rickus Ricks and all that sort of stuff. But no, I think it's just because it's taking a long time. People, like you say, people like to be shitty and get angry about things. I think it's just the case that it's taking a long time, so people are going, oh yeah, they must hate each other because it's taking a long time to write. And Dan Harmon just, he doesn't really pull any punches. He was just like, it's getting done. So.
See, we would be creating fake news there if you had not sorted us out there.
Fake news,
Jimmy.
mate.
We would have been fake news right there, spreading untrue rumours,
sowing discord to the internet.
Yeah,
no,
it doesn't need any more help, does it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, right. Okay, so we'll end our little quiz there. So, with a few more minutes left, has anybody got anything else they wish to talk about?
Can I just, if we're doing our sort of recommendation thing, can I just announce on behalf of some friends of mine, this Saturday, well, I suppose, is there any point in me doing it? It's this Saturday.
No, because it will not be out. It will not be out.
You can
mention it anyway for retrospective.
It's the standard, it's the Ulster University Student Union Mini-Con this Saturday.
Okay.
I'm gonna be doing a wee feature on it and stuff. It's kind of building up to the Belfast Comic Con, Film and Comic Con, next month. So it's just a wee mini sort of one that the guys, a lot of sort of cosplaying and local artists, a lot of games, all the usual sort of stuff there. I kind of forgot it. I forgot to do it last week, but it should be pretty good. There'll be an article going up on Geek Pride. In the next few weeks, and my next article should be going up in a couple of weeks. It's about I'm not sure if you guys are probably aware, this guy called Charles Band, Full Moon Pictures. It's like a weird horror movies from the 1980s, like Puppet Master and Trancers and
Puppet Master, fucking hell, that's
and Parasite and Tourist Trap and that sort of stuff. So that will be my next article. Will be up in probably about 2 weeks' time.
Here, Dave. Here's a random question for you. I remember there being when I we were talking about like renting videos and stuff earlier and
Yeah.
stuff, and I remember like we used to like, as kids, we used to get the Schwarzenegger film, and then we get sort of like I remember me and my brother really obsessed with this film called Death Stalker.
Yes.
Which was like a sort of kind of Conan the Barbarian type rip-off film.
Yep.
The only reason we liked it because there was boobs in it and we were teenage boys.
In the
and
first
it
like
was-
10 minutes of the film,
yeah,
there's like an incredible pair of boobs. Yeah.
yeah, it's just boobs. You have teenage boys. Boys will be
Yeah, there are.
boys.
There
But
are.
yeah, the question is, in one of those, I'm not sure what it was. What was the? Maybe it wasn't one of those films. What's the one with the little sort of kind of this is going to annoy me now. The little balls and they've got spines and the critters. Was it critters?
Critters. Yeah.
Critters, yeah, Critters.
Critters.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was one of the adverts on Critters or not, with the guy who speaks like this, and he's been doing video overdubs for many, many years.
In a world.
Yeah.
That guy, you mean?
Yeah, that guy. But there was one about yogurt that ate people from.
Oh, it's the stuff. It's the stuff. Movie
Is
called The
it?
Stuff. Yes.
I was sitting there kind of going, have I made that up? Have I
It's-
actually made that shit up? And it was basically like
No.
this yogurt. And you know what? That film put me off yogurt for years. I couldn't eat it because I was like, shit, if I eat this yogurt, then I'm gonna get eaten from the inside out. And it was the same with The Thing. I couldn't eat fudge bars for so many years after watching well, I was in Whitehead, yeah. I was a kid, yeah. My mom and dad, like we said, every weekend. And this is a shame because you don't do this anymore. You don't rent videos anymore with your family and stuff. Well, we used to rent the video every Saturday and watch it. And my dad was always a massive fan of Schwarzenegger films. So we used to go down and get one of the sort like Commando or Predator or something like that. Didn't matter that we were slightly underage for it. It was
Hey,
a
dude,
family
I mean,
thing.
I saw the first Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 5. It's
Yeah.
all downhill. It's all downhill from there. So
Yeah, but I remember going into it's not there anymore, but there was a video store in Whitehead, and I just sort of have this like memory of going in, and my dad had given me a fudge bar, and sort of kind of like just stay there, and we'll go and get the video. And I dandered in, and I was walking around, and they were watching The Thing, and it's the bit where the doctor's doing the
yeah, I know what you mean. The paddles.
the electors the paddles,
Yeah.
and the chest opens up and bites his hands off, and all I can remember is eating this fudge bar and sort of kind of that happening, and then looking at it and going, yeah, I'm never going to be able. And I literally, it took me 15 years to eat a fudge bar again.
It's like
really
something
bad.
similar to watching Jaws, not wanting to go in the water afterwards. Like,
Yeah, it was just weird, but it's just I literally, and the yogurts, I couldn't eat ski yogurts for years because I thought, shit, that stuff's going to eat me from the inside out, and
I
for
would
some
say
reason, fudge
watch,
bars.
Watch The Stuff. The Stuff is actually it's a forgotten gem. It's Larry Cohen who did a lot of sort of weird movies like Street Trash and stuff in the 1980s. But it's a hilarious film. It's a lot. There's a lot more sort of subtle humor to it, and it's kind of like Dawn of the. Have you ever seen the original Dawn of the Dead, where there's a lot of sort of like not so subtle commentary on consumerism and the mall and so on. But this is it's kind of like consumer. It's meant to be a play on Coca-Cola.
Right, okay.
And it's basically where it's this product and people absolutely obsessed with, but it's actually very bad for you, and it's basically eating you from within. So it's kind of like a play on Coke, but on steroids, and it is actually it sounds ridiculously bad, but it's actually it's a film that holds up very, very well, and some of the gore effects are very, very good.
Well, so it's kind of like that film.
It's kind of like The Blob. It's like The Blob. Have you seen the remake of The
What was
Blob?
the film
That's another hidden gem. That's a Frank Darabont written movie from the 80s. And fucking incredible film. One of the only sort of handful of films which the remake is better than the original. It's another forgotten gem. A fantastic. If you can hunt down the 80s version of The Blob, it's great.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever need a member for a pub quiz, David Foy is the man you need on your team, who will know all names.
Only shit horror films, man. Only shit horror films.
What was that film? The John Carpenter one that I wasn't massively keen
They
on.
Live.
Yeah, and everybody was like, "What? That's like the best thing
Heathen.
ever." You didn't. I was
Heathen.
like, I know, but I was like, that obviously, because everybody was saying that had it was sort of like a commentary on sort of like modern society, etc., etc.
Reaganism and
like,
so on.
yeah, but it's I grew up with a lot of I've watched a lot of his films, and a lot of them just I've enjoyed them all. The Halloween films, etc. But for some reason, me and Ali just watched that one, thought Roddy Piper's in this. I've seen sort of adverts for it years ago. Let's give it a whirl, and it just didn't click. I don't know why. It was just sort of like, this is a bit weird, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm older now, and I don't know what I was expecting. It just seemed slightly, I don't know, slow at the start. It didn't seem like it was going anywhere to start off with. And it took a while.
Sorry, it's typical of Carpenter's movies, to be totally honest. Look, I know I slagged you off just for this for a laugh, but I think films that are kind of big cult hits that people put a lot of passion into, there's films that have become massive cult hits, and if you say anything remotely bad about them, people will just shit their pants. And I think it's a film like that, I think when films are built up that high, when you go back to watch them, sometimes they will let you down, and I can understand it is quite slow moving. I mean, if you look at the majority of Carpenter's movies, they are very slow moving at the start. Even The Thing, and one of my favorites, Prince of Darkness, is fucking snail pace at the start. It takes a while to get going. So yeah, I mean, I can understand that, but I think if something's built up really to it, built up ridiculously high, and you go and watch it, sometimes it is going to be a letdown. So I'll let you away with it.
But see, this was my point. I was still adding to my Rogue One article, which hasn't been released yet, and it's still
15
going,
pages.
But yeah, I'm trying to cut it down at the minute. But I was sort of saying that if you've watched these things, like, as I haven't watched that film till now, so I've watched the other John Carpenter films and had no issue with them because I've watched them when I was younger, and obviously not as judgmental. Whereas now I've seen a film which I just watched because it was on Netflix, and just went, yeah, I'm not a massive fan, and it was because I was maybe expecting more than I should probably have expected, and I wasn't taking it for what it was. And I think that was my point about sort of people not just sort of taking the film as it is, and trying to take too much, to being a bit too judgmental maybe, or something like that maybe. I don't know.
Jimmy, Bev, do you guys want to add instead of me waffling on for another 5 or 10 minutes?
I think they've left.
They left.
I think
No, we're still here. No, we're still here.
No, we're still here. I just took a nap on the desk. It's okay. It's cool.
Yeah.
No, The Thing. I mean, the Thing was one of my favourite films of all time. It was the special effects for the day that really sold me on that one, to be honest. Yeah, but whether I don't know. I'm not a huge film buff. I'm just one of these kind of people. It's the same with the Marvel films, and a lot of people get very narked about certain angles and the different storylines that they take, and that wouldn't have happened in the comics. But then I'm one of these sort of people that will turn up to a film and just watch it for what it is. I don't take other films and other prejudices into the film with me. So things like, we've been talking about horror film, or you guys have been talking about horror films while I've listened.
Sorry, you been playing Destiny in the background.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm doing well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm one of these kind of people that just knows what he likes, and when he walks out of a film, and goes, "Oh yeah, that was cool." I don't try and overanalyze a lot of things. So yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not a movie nerd.
Yeah, I think I'm the same, and I'm quite easily amused to things. I don't overly. It's weird because I can be quite judgmental about things. For example, Game of Thrones. When it was coming out and it wasn't like the books, I was getting very narked about it until I realized it's like, just take it for what it is, and then I started enjoying it a bit more. But I will go and see a film, and I will just take it for what it is. And if it makes me have that sort of kind of, wow, this was an amazing film, I'll run out and put a thing on Facebook going, this is the best film ever, yay, brilliant. And I'll not put a lot of thought into it. And I think that's not a bad way to sort of, think about films and stuff. They are just for enjoyment in the end. If you want sort of like an art house film that's meant to have lots of depth and meaning, then by all means. But for just a blow up fest where there's superheroes kicking ass and chewing bubblegum, then, Just watch it for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. Has anyone seen Arrival yet?
Yes.
Nope.
You know what? I thought it was. I was unsure about that
Yeah.
film. I watched it and I was expecting something different, but what I got didn't. I didn't sort of think, oh, that was bad, but conversely, I didn't go, oh, that was amazing. I was just sort of. I came out of that film kind of going, I'm slightly confused. I don't know if I enjoyed that or if I didn't enjoy it, and I wasn't sure where to take it.
I went in with the expectation that it was going to be fantastic because I love Denis Villeneuve, and Sicario was probably my favorite film of 2015? And I thought, just as Bevan said, in terms of having that preconception that you think it's going to be great, and I went in and I was bored shitless. I really,
it is super slow paced.
it's very but I love thoughtful, weird, intelligent sci-fi, and I kind of went in and it was just as sort of a bit vapid and soulless as Interstellar, and I just ended up like you're saying, I turned it off and I put on The Running Man afterwards, and The Running Man was amazing. Made my night.
Where's Buzzsaw? He had to split.
Yeah, Sub-Zero, now Plane Zero. Amazing.
Oh, do you know that they started filming for the new Predator film yesterday? Yes. I've seen some of the. Apparently, what's his name? DJ 50 Cent, I think's in it.
50 Cent?
Possibly. Or somebody's in it. Somebody said some rappers in it. I mentioned it in work today. Said such and such, and I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, I saw a picture of the. Like the what's the word? The
cast or the clapper? The clapper.
Yes.
There was two actually. There was the Predator one yesterday and the Han Solo movie today. They released like a cast photo of it.
Yeah. That was that looks pretty good. It'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see how Donald Glover plays Lando Calrissian. Be
I
interesting.
love Donald Glover,
if he goes.
I have to say, I think he's
He's great. I love him from Community and stuff, but I just see him as sort of like that guy from Community, and Trey from Community. But it'll be interesting if he'll go down the smooth sort of Lando Calrissian, that sort of quite charming, but sort of
what have we here?
Yeah, what have we here?
I see a heavenly body. Oh, that's a Lego movie. Yeah.
Okay, right. All right, so we've been going on for a fair bit
Yes.
now. We should probably bring it to an end. Final thoughts from anybody before we move on? Bevan.
Wow, you put me on the spot there, dude. I like horror films. They're good. Last one I watched that I thought was pretty good was Mama, but I got bored at the end because I hate it when they reveal the monster. That's my final thought.
Do you know what? Somebody was talking about Jeepers Creepers recently, and I actually quite like that film.
Sorry.
Even though it had, because you know what, it went through the fact that it was always psychological horror and like things that you couldn't see, and I quite liked having one where you could just see a monster.
I kind of thought when he grew wings, it kind of went off a cliff for me. The first one, but then the second one was actually really funny. When he's flying around just like butchering school kids in a school bus. I thought that was hilarious. Good film,
Jimmy, have you got anything else you would like to say before we leave this podcast? Horror films are
They
great.
are great. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I mean, I can't really talk to people about films too much because they get really annoyed at me.
Join the club. Join the club.
Oh shit!
He's off
Okay,
again.
I'm going to say
bloody
something really.
hell.
I'm going to say something that's going to. I don't know. I think Matt's going to get angry. I fucking hated Rogue One.
Get out of this fucking podcast!
Matt will
No,
have
I mean,
15
no, I mean
pages
that's
of
harsh.
what you
That was a bold statement just to infuriate him. No, I didn't know. I mean, it got so hyped up. Like, I'm just disclaimer. Oh no, This is. I've lost friends over this. I love the idea of Star Wars. I think it's such a great universe. But I find the films really boring. I've watched them a few. I've watched them. I'm so sorry. I know I've got to like hand my card back in and stuff. But like, I don't know. There are moments of them like I really enjoyed Force Awakens, and that seems to make people even more angry at me. They're like, how dare you not enjoy the classics? And I'm like, I'm sorry. And Rogue One got so hyped up as this great heist movie. And I got really excited and I went to see it. And for the first sort of half of the film, I was just thinking, I don't get it. I don't care. And then things started exploding, and I was like, oh, what's happening? And then it finished, and I went, oh. And I walked out, and my girlfriend was like, I love that. It was the best Star Wars film I've ever seen. And I was just like, oh no, am I wrong? I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. It's fine. I don't mind.
You are wrong,
okay,
Jimmy.
that's fine.
You know why? Because you're a fake
But then also on the
geek.
flip side,
That's
I don't like I don't like Marvel films either. And it's not. I know people go, "You're just trying to be cool." And I'm not. I'm genuine. I liked the early ones. I liked all the Phase 1 stuff when it was like quite, by comparison to new Marvel films, small. If that makes sense. Like Iron Man 3 is my favorite Iron Man film. Absolute silence.
Wow.
Absolute silence
Really?
afterwards. Yeah, because it's like it's a really good character film, and it's almost like noir in a way. Like
Shane Black.
It's tiny and Shane Black's
Can
doing
I
it,
ask
and
you
he
a
made
question?
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Yeah,
Fantastic.
Do you have any joy in your life?
I have many joys in my life. I love the Evil Dead films. I love video games. I don't know. I think. Well, for me, I think it's like when I go to see a Marvel film, and I know this is like a lot of people say this isn't a huge problem, but for me, I like this. It's like any video game that's got. I've just finished Resident Evil 7, and it was just amazing because it just constantly surprised me. I played any like platform, any version of Resident Evil you can imagine. I've played it into the ground, and so to play Resident Evil 7, which was this huge surprise, and it had so many twists and turns, and it just kept me guessing. When I go see a Marvel film, I know how it's going to end before it's even started. We all do. We know they're not going to kill Tony Stark. You know, if they did, imagine if they killed Tony Stark in Civil War. You would have been like, shit! Everyone would have lost their minds.
Well, they should have technically killed Captain America.
They should have killed loads of, and they did the rug pull in Age of Ultron. They were like, they're going to kill Hawk, and then they just killed this like quick. Everyone's like, they killed Quicksilver. That's fine. It doesn't matter.
Quicksilver, yeah, that was kind of sucked. I was hoping to see more of him.
Yeah. But I mean, that's it for me. I mean, I don't to say I dislike them is because I will go see them. Like I haven't seen Doctor Strange yet, and I liked Ant-Man because again, it was kind of like in a bubble. And I was talking to a guy that I work with today, and he was talking about Marvel films, and he was saying how it's that constant bell ring. Like how many times will they mention the Avengers in these films? And I don't know. I kind of get to a point where I didn't think it would be possible to be a little bit bored when there was so much happening on screen.
You can send abusive comments to Redshirt Film.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Great. Awesome. Oh, no.
Okay, we should
so
probably
sorry.
end this now.
Oh, shit.
Um,
I'm in trouble. People are coming for me. I
You've,
live in Newcastle.
dun,
not
dun,
York.
dun.
I don't-
You've
you know.
officially ruined this podcast. I don't think I ever want to have you on it again as a guest. Only joking,
no.
only joking. I'm only joking.
Heartbroken.
He's not.
Okay.
No, I'm done.
Jimmy,
I'm done.
before
I'm
we
gonna
do
get deleted
go,
from the writers'
I
group. I'll
need
just be
a couple.
like,
I need a couple of things for you.
Okay, mate.
I need a hashtag for the podcast. So I need you to think of something.
What,
as a
like
title
right
for this
now?
podcast.
Okay.
Yes, right now. Right now.
Hashtag Rogue One is shit. No? Oh.
That was not
Provocative.
No, hashtag
This is
Jamie's,
very-
hashtag Jamie's
Heart
fired.
just crushing itself in his chest.
I'm so sorry.
You're not gonna like. Yeah. Okay. Hashtag
Jamie's
Jimmy
is fired.
Jamie is fired. That's it. That's it. That's what it's going to be. Hashtag Jamie is fired.
That's fine. Okay. That's cool.
Have you got any for all the people who want to subscribe to your YouTube
if you
channel or social medias
do
and
it,
such?
man.
Where do they need to go?
I think if you're interested, just Google Red Shirt Films or on Twitter Red Shirt Jamie. It's pretty much easy as that, and I think I've actually got one of the tidiest YouTube channels anyone will ever find, because I'm a bit obsessed with keeping it as well presented as possible, so people can get there and discover stuff. So, yeah, that's the best way to find something. If you like tabletop gaming comedy or sci-fi comedy or horror comedy, hey, there you go, all up there. Nothing about Star Wars though. I'm really sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
So
I know
sorry.
everybody.
I'll try it
you know,
again. I'll watch
be...
it again when it comes out on Blu-ray.
No. I don't like
So
forcing
sorry.
people. That's the thing is, I don't like forcing people to do stuff they don't want to do.
I just feel like I'm so
It's
wrong
like-
because everyone loves it, and I'm like, I
No,
don't
do
get
you know what?
it.
You like what you like. This is it. You know, I'm not one of those guys. You know, you'll have a laugh with somebody and you'll go, "Oh my God, why don't you like this?" And you'll take the piss. You know, bants, totes bants. But you know, in the end, you like what you like, and you just gotta keep yourself happy. If that's you, if you don't like Star Wars, you don't like Marvel films. If you've, you know, that's just your thing. If you like, you know, horror films and stuff, that's who
Yeah.
you are. That's what you want to do and stuff. You're wrong, but you know.
No, I understand. I'm very wrong. Yeah. I'm absolutely terribly. I'm so wrong. I'm sorry.
Only joking. I'm sorry. I'm joking. Okay, so I need you to outro us then, Mr. McKeller. So if you can do the honors, please, sir.
Great stuff. So this is probably my last ever involvement with Geek Pride after my controversial opinions. But thanks for listening. This has been a Geek Pride podcast with the newly fired Jamie McKeller and
Matt Geary, who is just clicking over the kick button on the Geek Pride.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, I'm not
You're
that. I'm
not
not
bad,
that
you're not
guy.
You're thinking about it though,
No,
but you're
I'm
not that bad.
guy.
I'm David. Flynn.
And I'm Bevan. 30 seconds of airtime. XCOM.
Oh, sorry,
I'm
Ben.
feeling really bad now.
So who was that? Who's that guy?
I am demanding that you, that you guys feel
You know what,
sorry for
Bevan?
me.
Bevan, in the next podcast, me and you, we're just going to talk board games, okay?
You promise?
I promise.
Awesome.
I promise. The next one will just be board
And
games.
I'll
stuff,
come on.
okay?
I'll
And you
come
can
on and I'll
talk
just sit
all
in the
you
background
want.
and not say anything then.
Just chip in
I
every
promise.
time.
We'll do that. We'll just do board games and stuff. Sorry, Bevan. You know,
It's honestly, it's fine. It's been a very interesting conversation to listen to. Little snippet, actually. I actually met my wife whilst watching a horror film. So they are worth it, guys. If you want to get yourself, you know, you get yourself a horror film on.
I don't. You know. Okay. How did that happen? I know we've meant to have ended ages ago.
This is the longest podcast ever.
How did that? How did
longest
that, how
ever.
Did that, how did that happen, Bevan? I don't understand how you've managed to sort of, you know, hit her with some smooth moves while watching a horror film.
It wasn't very smooth. I was 19.
What was it?
Did you do the yawn and the hand, the arm over?
Yeah, something like that. No, it was well, when you think about it, you know, horror films, they do kind of force. If they're a good horror film, they kind of force you into proximity to other people as you sort of, you know, go for a bit of protection. You know, you're sort of cuddling up. But no, we were due to watch a film with some friends. It was Evil Dead 1. And I'd actually seen Evil Dead 2 first, and I thought, oh, this is really hilarious. So I'll go back and watch the first one, and it must be equally funny. So we booked like an evening with a bunch of friends to watch it at who would become my wife's flat. And of course, nobody else turned up. It was just me, just me and my soon-to-be wife. And we both sat there and we're watching this film and thinking, this isn't that funny. This is actually quite, you know, they're playing this quite straight. And one thing led to another, and yeah, there we go.
So you just made out instead. You kind of went, this kind of sucks. You want to make out? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, something like that. I don't want to kiss and tell, but yeah, no, it was a fantastic evening.
Was it all of the
Yeah.
was it all of the background noise, all of the Dead by Dance kind of stuff that kind of, you know, push you in that direction? Then, was it? Yeah.
That always gets my motor running. You know, a bit of tree rape is yeah.
We're gonna get you.
Oh man, do you know what? Out of them all, I think Army of Darkness for some reason is my favorite. I love Army of Darkness.
Evil Dead 2. Evil
Amazing.
Dead 2.
Yes, that I did like that one. I prefer Evil Dead 2. I love the whole like the outtakes bit where they were showing how he basically, was it Raimi was beating Ash with sticks and things. That's got the special effects. Yeah, great film, fantastic.
Right, okay. This is now officially our longest podcast, I think, 'cause with 1 hour and 24 minutes. 3/4 of which is about horror films, and Bevan talks for a grand total of probably 5 seconds. So, yeah. Next one, Bev, definitely 100% going to be board games. You can talk your little heart out. Don't you worry, son. All right.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, guys. I think we're going to leave it there. Thanks for joining us, Jamie. Much appreciated. We will, definitely have you back on with your crazy opinions.
Controversy.
On Star Wars.
Controversy.
Controversy is always good to have that guy around. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and thanks everybody for listening.